When James was laid off after 20 years in the same company, he didn't expect to feel so heartbroken. He told himself it wasn't like someone had died. But as the days passed, he realized he missed the routine, the purpose, and the identity his job gave him. Friends didn't quite understand. Just find something new, they said. But James was grieving, not a person, but a part of his life that had quietly ended. Welcome to this mini-series on understanding the language of grief, loss, and trauma. My name is Nathalie Himmelrich. I'm a somatic practitioner, psychological therapist, educator, and author, specializing in grief and trauma, and the host of the How to Deal with Grief and Trauma podcast. Grief and trauma are deeply human experiences, yet many of us struggle to describe what we are going through or to understand what others are facing. The vocabulary of loss is vast, varied, and sometimes overwhelming. In this short podcast episode series, we'll explore the different types of grief, loss, and trauma that people encounter throughout life. Each mini-episode serves both as an educational tool and a compassionate companion for anyone trying to make sense of their own experience with grief, loss, and trauma, or someone who is supporting someone else who is. These terms are more than labels. They are doorways into greater understanding, healing, and connection. Whether you are a bereaved parent, a caregiver, a therapist, or someone walking alongside a grieving friend or someone who's experienced trauma, these bite-sized episodes aim to give you language, insight, and tools. Each one includes a definition, some key considerations, an explanation of why it matters, relevant podcast episodes, and frequently asked questions that I have been asked by my clients and you, the listener of the podcast. And my answers are all grounded in both professional and lived experience. So let's begin. Grief due to non-death losses refers to the emotional pain that arises from losses not involving a physical death, such as the end of a relationship, job, identity, home, health, or dreams. These losses can be deeply impactful, even if they aren't socially recognized or formally mourned. Non-death losses often go unacknowledged, yet they can upend a person's world just as powerfully. The grief is real and valid. It may include sadness, confusion, anger, and a deep sense of displacement. Because these losses lack ritual or recognition, and they often come with invisible grief. Minimizing non-death losses can increase isolation and internalized shame. Naming and validating these experiences allow people to grieve more fully and more openly. It also highlights the many ways grief shape our lives beyond the death alone. In episode 65 and 66, I speak with Dr. Frank Anderson on the topic of developmental trauma, which can be accompanied with grief, which does not stem from a death-related loss. Other examples, beside those already mentioned, could be business closure or failure, career ending due to injury or illness, retirement. Health and ability-related losses could be a chronic illness diagnosis, an acquired disability, also infertility, or the loss of body part or function. In relation to home and place, it might be relocation, migration, or the loss of a home due to disaster or financial hardship or eviction. Or also a neighborhood change that might really significantly impact the sense of safety. Also in relation to life dreams and expectations, such as having to abandon life plans, or unrealized hopes such as not marrying or not having children, as mentioned before, loss of identity, but also financial loss, loss of safety, or loss of trust. These losses often fall under disenfranchised grief, which I covered in episode 114, because they may not be socially recognized or supported, yet they can deeply disrupt identity, stability, and well-being. One question that I received is, can these losses be traumatic? Absolutely, especially if sudden, stigmatized, or identity shifting. I often get this question, is it okay to grieve something that wasn't a death? You know already the answer, it's yes, because grief isn't limited to death. It's a response to any meaningful loss. So how do I talk about this kind of grief? One recommendation I have, use languages that names the change, like I'm grieving my former self, or I miss who I was before. Therapy can definitely help if the therapy provides a safe space to process these invisible or complicated losses. So if you are supporting someone going through this, don't minimize. Just offer validation like, this sounds incredibly hard, or you're allowed to mourn this. And rituals might be helpful, like personal rituals like journaling, creating art, or lighting a candle. They can provide structure and meaning. In the next episode, I'll be speaking about environmental or climate grief. Stay tuned. I hope this episode has helped you feel more grounded in the language of loss, grief, or trauma, and maybe even offered you some clarity, validation, or insight into your own experience or the experience of someone you care about. Grief and trauma are deeply personal, yet universal. When we can name what we're feeling, we take one powerful step closer to healing and the integration of our experience back into our life. If this series resonates with you, I invite you to keep exploring. You'll find more resources, courses, and ways to work with me at nathaliehimmelrich.com. And of course, you're always welcome to revisit any of the episodes whenever you need a gentle reminder that you're not alone. Until next time, take good care of your heart.